Hey everybody, update on the no spark issue, the free 2006 Suzuki Eiger automatic 4x4. And so my whole problem was this guy. You can see that ground isn't even connected to anything. And so a quick order up on Amazon. That's the part number. And it's located right under your seat. You just take these bolts out and there it is. And I just cleaned up the connections, made sure, everything was tidied up, and put that in and it fired right up. So that was my no spark issue. When I got this, I received a phone call from a friend. His kids actually had two of these and they bought them in 2006. This one was wrecked, just a little bit of a backstory, was wrecked a couple times. It had a head-on collision. And so, suspicions of suspension and whatnot. But being free and having an Eiger already, was pretty much familiar with most of the issues that I might encounter and the ability to maybe get it running again. And so, you may remember from the previous video, there was no headlight in there. I had the original headlight, but no bucket. And when it was wrecked, all of the mounting positions were like plastic bullets, and you basically mount it to those, which were up in right here, and when they had the collision they broke those mounts off. And so when you look at the front of it, you can't really drill up into that corner, that curve. And so I had to kind of farm rig it and just make do with what I had to try to get it attached properly. And so that was a little bit of a challenge. And then when I did order up the bucket, it didn't come with any wiring. And so all of the aftermarket or things that may be comparable were ridiculously expensive, which was kind of a joke. So I tried to do some, my own kind of engineering and looked around at some hardware stores and automotive stores, but didn't have much luck. And so I did find this on Amazon and took a little bit of a chance. It's actually for a moped, but it's the same mounting with the 3 tongs. And so I ordered that up and it works great. Just a quick peek at that. And so she's at least got an eyeball back. So that's at least one improvement. And just to touch on the Eigers in general, the basic problems that I feel like people encounter, and which I have encountered myself, would be, first off, it seems like this diaphragm-fed stopcock fails because there's no off on it. There's only, prime, reserve, and on. So there's no way to turn it off. And so usually it backfills, in my case, into the airbox. Airbox was full of gasoline, including the motor, the oil filter, everything. It was everywhere. And it's kind of disturbing because when you go to fire it up, I smelled gas right away. And I think that's a huge flaw, because I've also read some threads about them actually catching fire. So beware of that. And the other thing is I went back to the diaphragm fed because the gravity just didn't seem to run right, and what the heck. So I went ahead with the diaphragm. And something to remember, if you're going to go with the Yamaha replacement, which it looks like they'd done here, which is obviously an aftermarket. One of the things that he failed to do, or she or whomever tried to work on it, they forgot to cap off that vacuum line. Now, normally when you get an aftermarket carb, which is definitely an aftermarket, if you're not going to use the diaphragm-fed stopcock, you have to leave the cap on it, because normally they're shipped with a cap on that vacuum line. Otherwise, it's going to suck air. And that's what I encountered with this one, not thinking, remembering the gravity fed to cap off that vacuum line. And this carburetor was not even attached. It was kind of hanging in there. And when I took it off to just clean it and inspect it, I noticed that the pilot jet was all the way out, which kind of should have been an indication to me that obviously they were concerned about it not getting gas or getting too much gas. Something was going on, and I just came to mind to cap that off, and it ran perfectly. So just to keep that in mind, if you do go aftermarket, and some people don't know, I didn't realize it until I tried an aftermarket stopcock to, keep that cap on that vacuum line. And so anyway, little backstory there of the Eiger. So, and they're also notorious for losing magnets on the flywheel and a bad stator. I also encountered with mine that I lost, the ability to be charging as it was running, which was the rectifier. So I replaced that, and that is located, if you take the seat off and that plastic, you'll see it right up in that fender well. It's kind of a hockey puck sized, rectifier regulator. And as soon as I replaced that, I had no charging issues and no sparking issues or anything of that nature. This one, however, being suspect, knowing it was wrecked, knowing that it has quite a few miles on it compared to mine, which is 3 years older, that I needed to really just kind of get in that case, check out that flywheel, make sure the magnets were good, and check that stator. And so I did do that because the plastics were off of it anyway, so why not? I did get in there. The stator looked a little worn, but the magnets in the flywheel were perfect. They were intact. They were in there good. None of them were loose. But one mistake I did make is when I did get in there and the shifter cable, where the shifter meets the shifting fork, which is kind of that shaped. When you get into that case, you may drop a washer. And just heads up, I dropped the washer. I wasn't sure where it went. I put it on one of the other gears thinking that's where it went. Nope. Because when I started it up and put it in gear, I heard this grind. So I shut it off immediately, took the case back off, did a little research, and that actually goes in front. You should have two in that shifter mechanism right there. One goes in the back and one goes in front of that shifter fork, which is shaped like that. Just heads up. Just a dumb mistake I made. So anyway, kind of a rundown altogether of what I've done when it arrived to me with the no spark issue. I inspected all the wiring, the fuses. The carb was unattached, obviously. I tried to adjust that, which I still need to adjust the pilot screw, I think. And so that's how kind of that all went. The ignition coil was replaced, the regulator rectifier, the stator was fine, but I replaced it anyway, just because I was in there. And then the starter solenoid obviously was bad, so I replaced that, and I cleaned all the terminals to everything, battery, and I cleaned up the CDI, which is located right up there. That is this guy. I just cleaned up the pins on it, just out of curiosity, because I'm suspicious this thing was sunk. It was absolutely covered in old, crusty mud, all the way up to, up into the oil radiator there, the oil-cooled radiator. But anyway, so that was my whole problem. Just a backstory of the Eigers, just in case you know of one that somebody's getting rid of and it's cheap and they can't get it started. It's worth it because they're, pretty reliable machines. I bought that one strictly for farm use, hauling wood, doing stables, barn work, gardening work. It's obviously taken a few licks in the plastic. But other than that, I mean, it's been very, very reliable. This is the rear wheel, not four wheel, on the floor shift. And this is an 03. This is an 06 automatic, four-wheel drive. And kind of significant changes. The plastic's definitely thicker on the camo. Headlights are obviously different. It's amazing what 3 years difference in the machines. You can even see how the handlebars sit lower on the camo. But it's kind of cool. We got a pair now, and I'm kind of glad they gave up on her, because I actually pulled this out of their barn with mine. So how ironic. But another thing I'm sort of fiddling with right now, and if you guys have any advice, I think I need to adjust, the pilot, obviously, but I'm also a little suspicious, and I hope it's not that, but there's gasket maker up in there. Obviously somebody's had the head off of it, which is concerning because that looks new down there. So my question is, did they put in the right size rings? Are they upside down? Easy mistakes, things that can be made. It kind of makes you wonder. But I also need to get into the front differential and just check the fluid in there, since, it got hammered. They wrecked it pretty hard. But, pretty happy with the headlights. That little project turned out nice. So that's what we got there. We at least have headlights. Matching eyeballs, so. And just a quick, it's cold. It's a cold start. It does seem to not be as responsive and choke out once it gets warm, which to me, I kind of think maybe piston and ring, something going on in there, but that's the end result. It's running pretty well other than that. Little issue with the throttle. Just another cold start. So there they are, the pair. 03 and 06. And I don't know, if you're having problems with your Eiger, just some things to look out for. But y'all, tell me what you think. I mean, do you think this is just a carb issue, or am I looking at maybe piston and ring? Which I would bet money it's piston and ring. So, anyway, that's what we have. And stay tuned, everybody. I appreciate you watching. If you think about it, like and subscribe. If you've got Eigers as well, throw me a comment. Let me know what you think. I'm kind of suspicious, piston and ring, but I hope not. I hope I just need to adjust the carb a little bit. Like I say, once it warms up a bit and you try to gun it, it'll stall. So I'm not sure. I'm hoping it's just maybe some jets adjustment, and we'll try from there. But anyway, thanks guys. Have a great day.